Years later, that assistance she gave to a lost youngster would serve as your life's compass. Carlos Rollers grew up on the streets. Due to drug addiction issues, his parents had abandoned him when he was 8 years old and had not been able to protect him from his many relapses into addiction. In the end, he made the decision to live on the streets by himself, rather than continue living in a house where he would be abused and assaulted. Despite having experienced a lot of hardship, this bright young man was kind to people and kind toward stray animals, sharing food and sleeping spots with them. He had not eaten since the previous evening, so one day, after a hard day of polishing shoes with the stray dogs, he was really hungry. He made the decision to go to the bakery after observing customers waiting in line the day before to get the mouth-watering bread and pastries. There, he lined up alongside everyone else and bided his time. The cashier saw his old, filthy shoes and his hands soiled with the black shoe shine when it was his turn to be served. She informed him promptly that the bakery did not offer charity lunches and that he should go right away since other customers would start to complain about the unpleasant smell. She then turned to face the next person in line after looking up. Carlos started to object, claiming he had money to pay and that the food was something he had worked hard for. However, the bakery employee just got up from behind the counter, grabbed his arm, and dragged him out of the establishment. Carlos's cheeks flushed with powerlessness as he kicked his feet. He turned around, obviously upset and furious, but before he could go more than a few feet, he saw a 12-year-old girl who had witnessed the entire incident. She had a carton of milk and a large sandwich in her hands. She said that he was like her elder brother and apologized for the harsh and impolite manner the cashier had handled him. She also wanted to offer him something to eat since she didn't like the way he'd been treated. Carlos expressed her gratitude and tucked into the meal with gusto. When he was done, he tried to offer the girl the monies he had managed to gather that day, but she refused. She clarified that she had learned from her parents that God is pleased when we act and give to others without expecting anything in return. Carlos gave her the most heartfelt gratitude anybody had ever given, and his eyes started to well up with tears. With a simple grin, the girl informed him of a charity that supported underprivileged kids, suggesting that Carlos may perhaps visit them to pursue education and eventually find employment. Nevertheless, the girl had to hurry to say goodbye since she needed to assist her parents at the bakery. After taking note of the foundation's name, Carlos gave it some thought. Ultimately, he took the decision to seek assistance with his studies in order to avoid making the same mistakes his parents had made and to become a decent adult. As the years went by, Carlos developed into a strong, independent man. He still gave stray animals loving care, but his fireman paycheck now allowed him to afford a modest apartment. When the alarm went out one morning while Carlos was on duty, his unit was sent out to put out a fire on a popular downtown thoroughfare. When Carlos saw that the magnificent bakery where a girl had given him the key to transform his life many years ago was now burning, it was like a chilling revelation. He hurriedly left the truck and started working with his friends to put out the fire. While they were preparing the first loaves of the day, they had received word that a gas leak had started the fire. Carlos boldly went in with 2 co-workers to look for the workers who were trapped. Upon arriving to the kitchen, he saw that 3 men and a lady were present. When they finally made it to safety, Carlos recognized the lady by her appearance and knew that she was the same girl who had aided him years before. Since the fire was essentially under control, he made the decision to board the ambulance and ensure the girl's safe arrival to the hospital. The woman was seriously burned, with several burns on her arms and left side of her face. Her lungs were full with smoke, and her heart rate was erratic. Paramedics had to intubate her using an artificial respirator. Carlos stayed with her until she left the emergency department, at which point he met the woman's parents. They told him her name was Anna and that she had just recovered from surgery along with her brother. For the first round of the morning, the bakery employees had assisted in opening the store. At last, the attending physician emerged to report the surgical outcome. He informed them of Anna's precarious condition, explaining that severe burns that needed skin grafts to properly heal had left her lungs heavily smoked. However, since Anna had been caught in the fire for a considerable amount of time, the most crucial thing was to wait for her to recover consciousness. Anna's parents spent the entire day at the emergency department with their daughter and the staff, feeling very depressed and anxious. The other workers began to wake up gradually that evening, including Anna's brother, who woke up hurt but stable. But Anna remained on the ventilator and showed no signs of waking. After his shifts, Carlos made the decision to provide Anna's parents food and drink every day. He even stayed in the room with Anna, chatting to her and sharing his life experiences. As the weeks passed, Carlos continued to pay her hospital visits. Anna's parents couldn't figure out why this boy showed up almost daily. Carlos paid their daughter a visit even on her days off. Not even a friend, Anna had never informed them about her partner being a fireman. After they questioned him a few times, he said that he did it because Anna was a unique and priceless individual. Even though Anna's brother had mistreated him when he was a defenseless youngster, he was kind to him. Months passed, and Anna didn't appear to be getting better. Her skin procedures healed, but she didn't come back to awareness. But Carlos continued to speak to her lovingly and offered her words of encouragement. Anna's palpitations stopped one day, and the doctors were very sure she would die in a matter of hours. They advised her parents to unplug her since, even in the unlikely event that she recovered consciousness, she may have amnesia and lose all memory of her past. Bian, the brother, and their parents were devastated. They were at a loss for what to do, and it broke their hearts to watch their daughter so thin and dependent on machines to survive. When Carlos came, they informed him what had transpired and the doctor's advice, just as they were ready to accept it. Carlos instantly advised them against doing so and to hold on to their optimism, saying that if they were in a similar circumstance, Anna would undoubtedly do the same for them. The bereaved parents were unaware of the firefighters' genuine care for their daughter's well-being, given that they were essentially strangers. They had never heard Anna mention him, so they questioned him once again about why he was taking so much time and care for her. With teary eyes, Carlos spoke to them, telling them that many years prior, Anna had given him a present, and that her parents had taught her that God is pleased when we perform good deeds and assist people without expecting anything in return. At that point, Anna's parents lost control of their emotions and sobbed in the hospital room with Carlos. Anna's pulse rate started to fluctuate and increase at that same time. She eventually opened her eyes and realized she was awake. She was confused for a minute but recognized her brother and father right away. Anna's brother and dad couldn't contain their happiness. She was in excruciating pain, but eventually stabilized and allowed visitors. When Carlos visited, he gave her a carton of milk and a really tasty large sandwich. After placing the meal next to her bed, he made his introduction. He replied that she had given him this meal in the hope that it would improve his life many years ago, even though she had told him she didn't remember him. In response, Anna said that she was aware of his identity as, on certain instances, she could hear Carlos's voice urging her to come back while she was asleep. However, it was never anticipated that the youngster she so kindly assisted so many years ago would serve as her compass in life. After 2 weeks, Anna recovered completely, but her parents had unintentionally used the majority of the insurance to repair the bakery, and she was still responsible for a significant medical bill. They hardly had enough money to survive, even with the assistance of other family members. Nobody was aware that Carlos had been saving money ever since he began working. He thus asked for the hospital bill and paid it in full. Such generosity surprised Anna, who asked him how she might return the favor. Carlos grinned back and said he would simply have a glass of milk and a sandwich.